It is 6 a.m. Central African Time. A very good morning on this Tuesday, the 5th day of March. Thank you for choosing us. On the show today, we look at two important issues developing in government. The first one, government's commissioning of a cabinet subcommittee that's going to work on the establishment of a single countrywide system of local government. Now, they say that this will lead to the development of the Tinkhundla Local Government Administration Bill that's going to further allow for an enhanced decentralization of government services. We will make sense of this development with Tinkhundla Minister Skhumbuzo Dlamini, who inaugurated the committee yesterday. We will then connect virtually with the Deputy Prime Minister Thuli Dladla on a hair-raising story that surfaced yesterday. The story of a Form 2 pupil from the Lubombo region who committed suicide over owed fees. Such a heart-wrenching incident which revisits the many concerns around child support, which of course the Deputy Prime Minister has been lamenting about since she assumed office. We are going to be understanding that incident with the DPM later on the program. Quite a lot on the go for you on the show today, but first let's look at stories making headlines in our local newspapers. What are the stories making headlines on the Times of Eswatini this morning? The first story, Major V speaks on why he ended up drinking alcohol. On another one, some members of parliament say that they will not approve 1.1 billion emalangeni ICC budget unless the full story is found on page 2 of the Times of Eswatini. But there's a demand for forensic audit from Minister. According to the Nhlambeni member of parliament. Another one from the Lobamba, who is the Lobamba member of parliament, says, I can take you to house built with material stolen from ICC and fish site. That's a developing story. And another one, the Deputy Prime Minister confirms move to remove some elderly from grants. And from the Eswatini Bank, 5 million emalangeni claim. Kawe wins round 1. Family in about 2 million emalangeni Daha rep. Midlalo Times of Eswatini making the leading story. Coach Masocha quits Wanderers as it never rains but pours for struggling side. Logongyoge Wanderers seasoned Gaffer announces decision to walk out following unfavorable results and working conditions. KFC Food Alliance's tasty 900,000 emalangeni for ESSSA. Food Alliance has pumped in 900,000 emalangeni towards the Eswatini Schools Sports Association through the Skaratindwa Soccer Foundation. Keeper Nyawo is back at Swallows. The Mbabane Swallows goalkeeper Qiniso Katinyawo has returned to capital city Giants Mbabane Swallows a few weeks after handing in a resignation letter. From the international front, there's a fresh woe for Christian Horner. Eswatini Observer making the leading story there. Rampant looting attic, according to MPs. Taps worth 25,000 emalangeni stolen from project and sold on the cheap. House being built from stolen material. Tourism Minister launches Easter campaign. As you can see on that photo of brethren who are in church gear. But with them, the ETA staff went all out as the Unwrap an Unforgettable Easter Adventure campaign was launched yesterday. The campaign is aimed at igniting a spirit of exploration and encouraging the nation to unwrap the hidden gems the kingdom has to offer. On another story, King prays for peaceful elections in SA. Kolumisa funding that will benefit Eswatini, according to the TLC. Mkulu, aged 68, has been sentenced to 24 years for raping a 4-year-old child. Such a painful story. Temdlalo, Eswatini Observer making the leading story. Its finger licking good sponsorship as KFC pumps in 900,000 emalangeni to the ESSA. This year's tournament will also include under 13 boys. KFC also supporting the girl child. Kanzike Foundation adheres to ministry's procedures. The last story speaks to the Ingwenyama Cup. What's going to extra time in Ingwenyama Cup semis. The critical stage of the Ingwenyama Cup semi-finals will see the introduction of extra time should teams be tied in the 90 minutes of play. Eswatini Daily News making the leading story. Bring back Mshamdane. Parliament. Members of Parliament have called for the allocation of funds towards curbing poverty in the country. This was referenced to the submissions made by Eswatini during the Sibaya People's Parliament. The submissions were made to the Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Economic Planning, respectively. Another story says revenue offices to be shut down, handed to Eswatini Revenue Service. The last story, free services unsustainable, and that's according to Mawik. Eswatini Daily News making the leading stories. This very same story that made headlines. Eswatini Observer and Times of Eswatini. It is finger leaking. 900,000 emalangeni for Skara Foundation as a leading fast food restaurant chain. KFC increases annual sponsorship by 77,000 emalangeni for the Skara Tindwa Foundation version year 2024. On another one, Ikabot leaves Wanderers. Kanzige from the international front in tennis in particular, Nadal hails amazing Carlos Alcaraz. Netoketinzabate lethamba embile mfantsabene live umathathu sitawubahlo la market sibuye sibukete lapha ekhaya esiswati. Kodwa mhla siphindze sikwamukele ehlelweni sethabele nadi tinzabade siswati. Ingwenyama ibeke tidzineko telive engcongwaneni yoluhambo lwayo lwelive lase-Turkey. Imisebenzi lentiwe ingwenyama kusukela ifikile eTurkey ishicilela umgomo wayo wekukhangala usito lolutawuthuthukisa live. Ligcinise liyifeza yonke imigomo yalo yentuthuko. Luhambo lwengwenyama selichubekele edolobheni lase-Istanbul lapho seyifike khona isingethwe inkosikazi Makela Nkambule.
Luhla lwemisebenzi yengwenyama lapha eTurkey lukhipha isithombe senshisekelo yayo yengwenyama ukuthi live lifukuleke lapho kufanele lifukuleke khona, liphindze njalo liphembe ubudlelwane lobusha lobuta nemathuba lamasha ekuluthuthukisa. Ingwenyama ibe nelichungechunge lwemisebenzi kusukela ifikele lapha eTurkey isingethwe inkosikazi Makela Nkambule. Ingwenyama icale umsebenzi ngekuthi ibe nemhlangano namengameli welive leTurkey Recep Erdogan. Kulo mhlangano ingwenyama igcizelele ukuthi kukhuliswe lizinga letekuthengiselana emkhathisini welive leSwatini nelive leTurkey. Yabuye yavumelana namengameli ukuthi kukhulumisana ngilona khambi lekugcina umhlaba unekuthula. Silo semhlaba sibuye saba semhlanganweni wesithathu webaholi wekucatulula tinsayele tikhungethe umhlaba kusetshenziswa buciko bekubambisana nekusebenzisana kwemave longenelwe baholi bemave labangetulu kwama-20 nebethi inhlangothi letahlukahlukene lebebafika etinkulungwaneni letisihlanu. Kulo mhlangano baholi bavumelene ngelekuthi kukhulumisana akube ngiyona ndlela lesetshenziswako kugwema timpi tisavela nekuqedza leto letichubekako. Usachubeka umhlangano inkhosikati Makela Nkhambule ibe simenyo lesikhulu samake mengameli Emin Erdogan emhlanganweni wabomake lebawubuka inzima yabo bomake kutekuthula netekuphepha mhlaba wonke. Kusayina kwetivumelwano letinsha etinhlangothini letingumgogodla wemnotho welive kanye-ke netinkhulumo tekuqinisa kubambisana nalamanye emave kubalelwa kito tithelo lesevele tivelile kusukela ingwenyama iqalile umsebenzi lapha eTurkey. Kuvuleke lithuba lekukhula kwebuhlobo nekubambisana kwelive leSwatini nelive leRussia ngesikhathi ingwenyama iba netinkhulumo nendvuna yetangephandle eveni leRussia. Kube ngilapho-ke la indvuna seyikhipha simemo sekuthi live leSwatini lite kutawuphaliswa elikhethweni lweRussia lolitawucala mhla til-15 enyangeni leSetulu. Ingwenyama ibuye yavuselwa libandla lebeliholwa indvuna yetangephandle eveni laseSerbia. Live lisayine tivumelwano letawutfutfukisa tekutsengiselana nelihlangothi lwetemfundo emkhatsini welive leSwatini nelive leTurkey. Live lisayine sivumelwano lesakha luhlaka lokusebenzisana kwalo nenhlangano lefukula temfundo nekuqeqesha kumave iTurkish Marif Foundation kanti lenhlangano itibophelele ukuthi itawukwakha tikolwa letitawubamba emazinga emhlaba kusukela esigabeni senkhulisa kuya emfundweni lephakeme. Inkampani yahulumende lekhanga bosomabhizinisi iEswatini Investment Promotion Authority isayine isivumelwano sekusebenzisana nelibandla lelibuke kubambisana kwelive leTurkey nalamanye emave kutemnotho. Ngetulu kwaloko ingwenyama ibe netinkhulumo nenhlangano yebaphalali baseTurkey iTurkish Red Crescent nenhlangano yetentuthuko iTurkish Coordination and Cooperation Agency. Ingcenye lenkhulu yelihambo lwengwenyama lapha eTurkey kuthi ingwenyama igcine live leSwatini likumave lavule tandla ukuthi asebenzisane nalamanye emave kuthi noma kunjalo lingazuzi lodwa live leSwatini kodwa kubambisana kwalo nalamanye emave kuwafukule nawo lawo mave. Ingwenyama-ke seyichubekile embili neluhambo lwayo yase seyifika lapha edolobheni e-Istanbul isingathwe ngiyo inkhosikati Makela Nkhambule kanti nakhona-ke ingwenyama itawuchubeka nemisebenzi lephathelene neluhambo lwayo. Lebika kwethu indzabeni ngisandile emakhanya kanti sibika nazweli masuku edolobheni le-Istanbul eveni leTurkey.
Umhlonishwa Mvunankulu Russell Dlamini uvakashele iRoyal Science and Technology Park kuyawubuka ukuthi umsebenzi uchube kanjani. Umsebenzi-ke wekwenta lenzawo ukuthi ifake isandla lesibandi emnothweni welive. Mvunankulu uqale ngekukhonjiswa iNational Data Center, isikolo lesifundisa eMaswati ngetebuchwephesha kanye nenzawo lapho kufukamelwa khona bosomabhizinisi. Mvunankulu bese uwelela eNokwane lapho khona kune-Biotechnology Park kanye nenzawo lehlelelwe bosomabhizinisi batawuhlanyela imali yeveni i-Special Economic Zone. Mvunankulu uchazelwe ukuthi kunemithetho lemele icolwe kudeke lendzawo itawukhona kusebenta live lizuze. Kumaphakelo eminyaka wetimali wa 2024 umnyaka 2025 indvuna yetemafa yamemetela imali letigidzi letingemashumi temalangeni tekucedzela i-Biotechnology Park. Liphini landvunankulu umhlonishwa Kusile lithi tiyanza tincingo letitfolwa ngilo lelohhovisi lakhe letibika kuhlukubeteka kwebantfwana. Lokuhlukubeteka ke kufaka ekhatsi kungondliwa kwebantfwana nekwekuthi bangabhadalelwa etikolweni. Dladla uthi batawusebenzisana nebetindzaba kucinisekisa ukuthi batali bayakwenta lokufanele. Wangeta nekwekuthi inhloso kutawube kungasiko kuhlaza bantfu.
Sihleli phasi ke simbhalele naye Minister ka Education yalo ukuthi Minister sicela ukuthi by March bantwana bonke bangene esikolweni kube umntwana losalela ngaphandle sili office la ka DPM sibone ukuthi imali siyayikhokha ngoba uhulumeni uyasinika sikhokhe le mali lapho kune shortfall khona sikhone ku understand ukuthi le shortfall le vele lo mfana ukhona lapha taphinza ayithole khona vele lo mntalo uma athi ngicela kubhadala 1000 a month why singamniki sibo head teacher ukuthi okay utaboyiletha lo 1000 why because so ifakile phela uhulumende ibase so siceleke ukuthi litiko letemfundo ngoba bothela bakulu bakhulumisana why sisabuka a way forward ukuthi next year for instance for sure sibe sesicedzile onke lama lendlela lesifuna ukuthi kube umntwana losalela ngaphandle akafanele ukuthi kube nemntwana losalela ngaphandle because lo mntwana cannot afford ungena esikolweni so ke nako lokho satawuhlala phansi sesiqalile kuyibhunga fancy siyibhunge sifike ekugcineni and then sibuye eParliament and implement so that next day January there is no child lothi ngeke ngingene esikolweni because ngide imali yokungena esikolweni si nalabantu abamlapha sesisebenze kakhulu sikhokha nasithi emakhikini sibhadalela abantwana labanye sibathengele ama-uniform angikhulumi ke ngebahlonishwa so into lefanele sisothe we cannot sit on this problem forever sinetingcondo asisebenziseni kubona ukuthi siphuma njani kule
Litiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla selikhiphe imvume letintsatfu tekusebenta eluhlangotsini lwetimayini kuleli. Lokhu kushiwo indvuna yetemcebo waphansi nemandla umhlonishwa umfanenkosi lonkhokhela nakacela ukuthi likomiti lendlu yabayesikhulu yeParliament lelibuka kusebenta kwelitiko letemcebo waphansi liphasise emaphakelo alelitiko lalinganiselwa ke ngetulu kwesigidzi semalangeni. Lamaphakelo atawusebenta eminyakeni timali wahulumende wa 2024-2025. Kanti ngakulokunye indvuna yelitiko letemafa umhlonishwa Reichenberg nayo icele likomiti lelibuka kusebenta kwelitiko letemafa endlini yabayesikhulu kutsi liphasise emaphakelo alelitiko lalinganiselwa ku2 billion emalangeni 158 million emalangeni.
Enkulumeni yayo leyendlulele umbiko wekuphela kweminyaka wa 2023-2024 indvuna yelitiko letemcebo waphansi nemandla umhlonishwa umntwanenkosi lonkhokhela uthi imisebenzi yetetimayini kuleli kubhekeke ukuthi ikhulise umnotho welive ngekuthi ifake lokulinganiselwa ku5% we-GDP yelive kule minyaka lesihlanu letako kanti kwanyalo tisafaka lokulinganiselwa ku0.2% nje kuphela.
3 mining rights were granted for coal resources at Mbaga and another 2 prospecting licenses were granted for coal resources at St. Philip's South and Zaliche, respectively, whilst a prospecting license was granted for diamonds north of the defunct diamond mine Katogolwa. The ministry, I must say, Mr. Chairman, in close collaboration with the Minerals Management Board, is working towards ensuring that there is increased economic activity to boost employment opportunities through mining of the vast mineral reserve that the country has.
Indvuna yelitiko letemafa Reichenberg nayethula sendvulelo sembiko wekusebenta kwelitiko letemafa ithi tinhlelo taleli tiko letihlose ukuthuthukisa sive titawuqiniswa kanye netekusekela lamanye ematiko ahulumende ukuthi ende kahle imisebenzi yawo.
The Office of Internal Audit verified arrears amounting to 231 million emalangeni accumulated by 17 in order to improve fiscal discipline towards ensuring that ministries and departments manage their funds appropriately to deliver their programs and activities within their budgets. I presume they're referring to 17 entities here. The office was able to develop an enterprise risk management manual with the assistance of Commonwealth and has trained risk champions in the 7 pilot ministries on using the manual. The aim is to increase awareness, enhance ownership by ministries, and strengthen the coordination and the establishment of risk management in these ministries.
Sihlalo waleli komiti laleli tiko umhlonishwa amadala Mhlanga ucele indvuna ukuthi ilethe impendulo letibhalwe phansi kuleyo mbuto lebutwe ngemalunga aleli komiti kanzi nasisahlanganisa lo mbiko emalunga lelibuke kusebenza kwelitiko letemafa lesihlalo walo kungumawiki Khumalo bekasathi ngitsa lo mbiko waleli tiko etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV ngombongo Dube kalobamba.
Kubhalisa certificate tebantfwana nabatalwa sekutawuba melula kakhulu njengoba ke inhlangano yaka World Vision seyethule tintfo tekusebenta letfaka ekhatsi bongcondvo mshina kanye nelihovisi i-mobile office. Indvuna yelitiko letasekhaya yemukela letintfo umhlonishwa umfana Nkosi Lindiwe uthi lolu sito litawusita kakhulu ekutheni kube melula kubhaliswa kwetitifiketi tebantfwana ekakhulu emitfolampilo lesemaphandleni. Indvuna beyimelelwe indvuna yembuso umhlonishwa Jane Mkhonda.
Litiko letasekhaya selimukele tintfo letawusita kubhaliswa kwetitifiketi tebantfwana nabacedza kubelekwa. Letintfo tetfulwa inhlangano yaka World Vision ngesikhatsi litiko letasekhaya licale umkhankaso wekubhalisa bantfwana. Yemukela letintfo letibite imali lenganga 600,000 emalangeni. Indvuna yelitiko letasekhaya lebeyimelelwe yindvuna umhlonishwa Jane Mkhonda ithi-ke letintfo titawusita kakhulu litiko ekuthenini bantfwana nabatalwa bavele babhaliswe ngobe kulilungelo lemntfwana kutsi abe netimphepha letichaza buve. Mkhonda uthi-ke kubhaliswa kwetitifiketi tebantfwana kubasita ukuthi batfole ematfuba latsite.
This donation is in the form of 1 fully furnished mobile office, 3 computers, 3 printers, 6 laptops, furniture consisting of tables and chairs. I stand before you today to emphasize the importance of birth registration and highlight how this donation will contribute to the ministry, especially the Department of Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Strategic Intent for newborns, especially the closing of the TAP initiative. It is crucial to recognize the significance of birth registration. Birth registration is not only the first legal requirement for a child, but also an essential step towards ensuring their well-being. Without proper registration, a child remains invisible, deprived of their rights and opportunities. Birth registrations entitles a child to their rights and bestows upon to the state the responsibility to protect and provide for them throughout their lives. In line with our ministry's strategic intent for newborns, we have launched an initiative called the Closing of the TAP. The primary objective of this initiative is to ensure that every newborn is registered at the point of birth. The goal is to capture 65% of births occurring in health facilities, thereby establishing a comprehensive record of our nation's future.
Letintfo tetfulwe ngumcondzisi wenhlangano yaka World Vision esifundeni lesentasi ne-Africa Mark Kelly lobekahamba nelibandla lelifaka ekhatsi umphathi walenhlangano lapha eveni Thina Mukunda. Etindzabeni kubika Sonto Mlangeni kunempendulo kumbi eMbabane.
Indvuna ekuhlela umnotfo nentfutfuko umhlonishwa Dr. Tambo Gina itsile hotela lelakhiwa ezulwini International Convention Center libhekeke ukuthi libe ngulapho okubanjwa khona umhlangano lomkhulu ngeminyaka wa-2025. Indvuna ithi kutawulandzelelwa ukuthi ikontraki lesebentako isebentela kucedza ngesikhatsi. Indvuna ikuvete lokhu uma iphendvula imalunga elikomiti lelibuke kusebenta kwelitiko layo endlini yabayisikhulu ngemsombuluko.
Indzaba yelihhotela lelakhiwa ezulwini lelibitwa ngokuthi i-International Convention Center ibe ngundzabamlonyeni ephalamende nakukhulunywa ngemaphakelo elitiko lekuhlela umnotfo.
Sayathi indzaba yase-ICC nefish ukuthi angiboni ukuthi yamlalisa naye ubuthongo obunene ukuthi ungabe lo nyaka siyayisonga yini.
Itoro induna lehloniphekile fortunately ngibenikhona khona kuleli tiko. Ithi siphasisa ibudget yekugcina leyo sebenza noma nangikhumbula kahle kwathiwa i-99%. Nasiphasisa nje imali lesuka kuyo kwathiwa lena by 2024 iyaphela kutawusala le fish. So uyatibuta ke ukuthi namhla indvuna seyiphindze futhi itawufuna ibudget lenye yakhona. Kwendekani
wabeka mawujuba lapha so ungathi indlala ngaphandle kanti ngumsebenzi welive la kufakwe imali khona lena nje imali lesikhululela yona ukuthi ihambe yosebenza sitaphusha minister ukuthi kube ngomnyaka wayo wokuphela
ICC next week ngicela ukuthi sikomiti ya economic planning nawo minister siya lapha ICC siyobuka usikwendekani la.
Litiko liphendvule kafishane lase liyaveta ukuthi lokuningi litakuletha sekubhalwe phansi.
Sekuko kubili akukho ngaphansi kwa 3.5 billion kusengaqala kwakhipha bekungiloko hayi lezi mali leliminyetelwako. Delibandla neparlament letonikwa fully ukuthi ICC lesesibheke ukuthi iyaphela kulonyaka. Itawuphela ngamali ngabo May 2025 ubheke umhlangano omkhulu lapha ku-ICC.
Emalunga elikomiti aphindze advumisa luhlangothi lwaka micro projects ngekuthi lusebente ngekutimisela kuto tonke tinkhundla kutfutfukisa leSwatini. Etindzabeni teSwatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela ephalamende.
Sifiso semaswati sekuthi uhulumende afike esiveni kakhulu etinkhundleni sesitawuphumelela njengoba ke sekubekwe libandla lelitawubukisisa ukuthi isicephu semthetho-sekelo lesingu-218 sivele sicale kusebenta kanti ngikusho kwendvuna litiko letetinkhundla nekutfutfukiswa kwato sikhumbuzo Dlamini lelibandla kubhekeke ukuthi lisebente ngekutikhandla njengoba kulibandla lelitawusebenta tinyanga letilishumi-nesihlanu nekuthi ke tisebente letitsetfwe ematiko lehlukene. Waloke lelikomiti ngumabhalane lomkhulu alelitiko noNhlanhla Dlamini indvuna beyikhuluma ngesikhathi yethula lelibandla ehhotela le-Happy Valley lapho beyinelibandla letindvuna tembuso lekuyindvuna Apollo Maphalala kanye nemphanenkhosi Simelane.
Tikhalo letavetwa ngemaswati esibayeni eliningi lato tifaka indzaba lenkulu yekuthi uhulumende usenebulukhuni bekuthi afike kubantfu. Libandla lelikhetfwe tindvuna tembuso lelitawubhasopa lo msebenti tifaka ekhatsi ummphanenkhosi Simelane, umhlonishwa Dr. Tambo Gina kanye nemhlonishwa Apollo Maphalala. Indvuna yelitiko letinkhundla umhlonishwa Sikhumbuzo Dlamini sewetfuleke libandla lelitawubukisisa ukuthi uhulumende ufika njani kubantfu ngendlela letawunciphisa emanyeva sive lesinawo.
After sikhulume sibaya yasenengonyama emhlaba seyabhodla khona eParliament ku speech from the throne yavele nayo yasho ukuthi sengihulumende isinika lo mthwalo ukuthi asibuke indlela ukuthi ufika njani lo hulumende mana ama services afika njani le kubantfu. Lasakhala nje kakhulu emaswati nyalo asi lo hulumende akafiki le kubantfu akafiki uhulumende kubantfu asafuna nje lokho emaswati nyalo konke sekasakutfolile emaswati konke sekwendekile but nje lakhala ngakho lokuthi lo hulumende ufika njani ke le phasi kubantfu. Kungakho ke icabinet yasakusumela libandla liyakwenda lo msebenzi bekunene selivele licala wona ke lamuhla.
Indvuna yelitiko letetindlu umhlonishwa Apollo Maphalala ucelekele libandla ukuthi liwuhloniphe umsebenzi welive.
Kufanele ukuthi mhlawumbe 5 years after i-constitution seyiphasisiwe iyayi-envisage noma yayibheke ukuthi utabe sowendiwe lowo msebenzi. But-ke ngalobu bukhulu bawo, I think lama-consultations funa abe manengi futhi tiningi naletinye tinto bekufuna tilungiswe ungakefiki lapho kusetshenzwa khona loyo section 218 we-constitution. Singabonga nje kuyo imbubo yemhlaba segudelwane lokuchubeka nekuhlahla indlela kuleti ndzaba leti siphinze sibonge nakuyo i-cabinet litsite litiko lakatinkundla nalita nale proposal yokuthi licele ematiko angenelele ngoba vele enzabe kuya kwahulumende kubantu akusiko kusho kuya kwetinkhundla njengelitiko kubantu kodwa kusuke kusho kuya kwalo hulumende wonke ngekuphelela kwakhe.
Leli bandla litawusebenta tinyanga letilishumi kanti tifaka ekhatsi Arnold Dlamini, Sandile Mathe, Nonhlanhla Thabetse, Ngabisa Ngambule, Thulasizwe Dlamini, Welile Mkhatshwa, Queeneth Masuku, Melus Hlanze, Mbuso Dlamini, Mvuselelo Dlamini, John Mavuso kanye naBanele Mathebula. Tindzabeni kubika Sonto Mlangeni, ngisezulwini.
Kutemidlalo indvuna yetemidlalo umhlonishwa Bongani Nzima ithine lethemba lelikhulu ukuthi imali lelinganiselwa ku-900,000 emalangeni lehlanyelwe ngu-KFC yahlanyelwa ke kuSkara Thindwa Foundation ihambisana ngco nemgomo wahulumende wekwesekela temidlalo ikakhulukati kubantwana labancane. Indvuna beyikhuluma ngesikhathi kuphakamiswa lomsebenzi ngalokusemthethweni eMountain View eMbabane. Tingakho ndzabate Eswati sitawuba hlola imakethe sichubeka nehlelo masibuya.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokho kusembili.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho sibile sive sikhulume.
Residents of Simunye and surrounding areas are notified that intense TV license door-to-door inspections are being conducted in the region. The exercise starts on the 19th to the 28th of February 2024. Stay alert. Our TV license inspectors will be wearing Eswatini TV gear and will have tags that confirm their identity. Don't be scammed. Our inspectors do not ask for cash payments. Pay your TV license only at specified pay points or call us on 34050163 or 78024545 for more information. Alternatively, you can send a WhatsApp message to 76222000 and we'll chat with you. Pay your TV license today, enhance the industry.
Welcome back to the program briefing by Adede G. Ebo, Director and Deputy to the High Representative of the United Nations Office for the Disarmament Affairs on the implementation of Security Council resolution on the elimination of the chemical weapons program of the Syrian Arab Republic. Let's take a look at that.
Council members for the opportunity to brief you once again on the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2118 of 2013 on the elimination of the chemical weapons program of the Syrian Arab Republic. I am providing this briefing on behalf of the High Representative for Disarmament Affairs, Ms. Izumi Nakamitsu, who is currently away from office. Since the last consideration of this matter by the Council, and consistent with established practice, the Office for Disarmament Affairs has been in regular contact with its counterparts in the OPCW Technical Secretariat on activities related to Resolution 2118. Mr. President, since the Council's previous meeting on this matter, the OPCW Declaration Assessment Team, or DAT, has continued its efforts to clarify all outstanding issues regarding the initial declaration and subsequent declarations submitted by the Syrian Arab Republic. As was reported at the last briefing to the Council on this matter, consultations between the DAT and the Syrian National Authority resumed in October 2023 after a gap of more than 2.5 years. I am pleased to further report that another round of consultations have taken place from 23rd January to 1st February 2024, which is the 26th round of consultations. I have been informed that during the 26th round of consultations, the DAT conducted technical meetings, revisited the status of outstanding issues, discussed ways to resolve these issues, and interviewed 7 persons who were involved in the Syrian chemical weapons program. The DAT also discussed the results of analysis of samples it collected between 2019 and 2023, with a focus on the unexpected presence of indicators of potentially undeclared activities involving research and development, production, storage, and/or the weaponization of unknown quantities of chemical weapons. Throughout the technical meetings, the DAT requested and explained to the Syrian National Authority the need for tangible, scientifically plausible, and verifiable explanations, amendments, and documents to resolve issues. I have been informed that the Syrian National Authority provided several amendments and explanations regarding research activities at some sites, taking into consideration the DAT's proposals and requests. In addition, following the consultations, on 15 February 2024, the Syrian Arab Republic submitted 2 note verbals regarding 3 outstanding issues and new explanations of the results of the analysis of samples collected by the DAT at one of the declared sites. I have been informed that the DAT is currently analyzing the information received and will report the results in due course. I encourage all parties involved to continue this renewed spirit of cooperation so that all outstanding issues regarding the initial and subsequent declarations submitted by the Syrian Arab Republic can be resolved. Mr. President, these outstanding issues include the complete declaration of activities at the Scientific Studies and Research Center, or SSRC, and the declaration of quantities of nerve agents produced at one chemical weapons production facility that was declared by the Syrian Arab Republic as never having been used to produce chemical weapons. With regard to inspections of the Barza and Jamraya facilities of the SSRC, I have been advised that the OPCW Technical Secretariat is planning the next round of inspections in 2024. However, as of the date of this month's report, the Syrian Arab Republic has yet to provide sufficient technical information or explanations that would enable the OPCW Technical Secretariat to close the issue related to the detection of a Schedule II chemical at the Barza facilities of the SSRC in November 2018. In addition, the OPCW Technical Secretariat has advised that it will continue its engagement with the Syrian National Authority concerning the origin and usage of a chemical of dual-use nature observed by the inspection team during the previous round of inspections in September 2022. The OPCW Technical Secretariat has also requested information regarding the unauthorized movement of the two cylinders related to the chemical weapon incident that took place in Duma on 7 April 2018, which were allegedly destroyed in an attack on a chemical weapons production facility. I have been informed that, as of the date of this report, the Technical Secretariat has not received a response to this request. Mr. President, the OPCW Technical Secretariat remains fully committed to implementing its mandate aimed at verifying the fulfillment of the Syrian Arab Republic's declaration obligations under the Convention, decisions by the OPCW policy organs, and Security Council resolutions. However, as has been previously emphasized, full cooperation by the Syrian Arab Republic with the OPCW Technical Secretariat is essential to closing all outstanding issues. Considering the identified gaps, inconsistencies, and discrepancies that remain unresolved, at this time, the OPCW Technical Secretariat assesses that the declaration submitted by the Syrian Arab Republic still cannot be considered accurate and complete in accordance with the Chemical Weapons Convention. I call upon the Syrian Arab Republic to continue its cooperation with the OPCW Technical Secretariat and respond with urgency to all of the Technical Secretariat's requests. Mr. President, since the last meeting of the Council, the OPCW Technical Fact-Finding Mission, FFM, and the Investigation and Identification Team, IIT, have both released reports under their respective mandates. On 22nd February 2024, the OPCW Technical Secretariat issued a report of the fact-finding mission regarding an incident of alleged use of toxic chemicals as a weapon in Al-Yarmouk on 22nd October 2017. The report concluded that the information obtained and analyzed in line with the FFM's mandate was not sufficient to provide reasonable grounds for the FFM to determine that toxic chemicals were used as a weapon in the reported incident. The FFM is currently preparing upcoming deployments and will report to the Executive Council on the results of its work in due course. The OPCW Technical Secretariat also issued a report on 22nd February 2024 entitled Fourth Report by the OPCW Investigation and Identification Team, pursuant to paragraph 10 of Decision CSS4/December 3, addressing the threat from chemical weapons use, Maria, Syrian Arab Republic, 1st September 2015. In this report, the IIT concluded on the basis of all information obtained and its analysis that there are reasonable grounds to believe that on 1st September 2015, during sustained attacks aimed at capturing the town of Maria, units of the Islamic State in Iraq and the Levant, otherwise known as ISIL, deployed sulfur mustard using one or more artillery guns. The IIT was able to identify a number of 4 individuals as perpetrators, and 2 further ISIL members were identified as the primary drivers of ISIL's chemical weapons program. The Secretary General has shared the IIT report with Council members as document S/2024/200. The IIT will continue its investigations and will issue further reports in due course. Mr. President, distinguished members of the Security Council, as the High Representative for Disarmament Affairs has emphasized on many occasions, any use of chemical weapons is unacceptable. I also echo the Secretary General's call to end impunity for all those who dare to use such weapons, especially against civilians. The absence of accountability for the use of chemical weapons continues to be a threat to international peace and security and a danger to us all. In closing, I urge the members of this Council to unite on this issue and show leadership in demonstrating that impunity in the use of chemical weapons will not be tolerated. The United Nations will continue to support all efforts to uphold the norm against chemical weapons and to relegate these dreadful weapons to history. The UN Office for Disarmament Affairs stands ready to provide whatever support and assistance it can.
I will take a 360 and look at emerging technologies. Healthcare professionals are increasingly using artificial intelligence to better diagnose as well as treat serious medical conditions. However, with the use of artificial intelligence in medicine growing, there are concerns among medical ethicists about how emerging technologies should be deployed.
Biomedical engineering researchers at Johns Hopkins University are working to transform heart patient care. They can now create a personalized digital model of a patient's heart, a digital twin, and use artificial intelligence to help better predict which patients are most at risk of sudden cardiac death. The technology is aimed at improving clinical decision-making, says Professor Natalia Trayanova.
We would like the doctors, when they make decisions for treatment, to use our digital twin to develop the optimal treatment. When they want to make a prognosis, how the patient trajectory will be, or what is the risk of the patient of developing an adverse outcome of sort, we would like them to use our AI algorithms.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death worldwide, according to the World Health Organization. Trayanova's research looks to cut those deaths using an algorithm based on each patient's scans.
We do MRI, contrast-enhanced MRI of the heart, and then we combine that contrast-enhanced MRI with all the clinical data that's known for the patient. At the end, this is combined with survival analysis, and we can tell over 10 years what is the risk of a patient of having sudden cardiac death.
Unlike segmented images most often used today, Trayanova says using whole images of the heart produce more accurate predictions of which patients need defibrillators.
So we provide these deep learning algorithms that are multimodality. They represent the patient's condition much better.
At the Johns Hopkins Sidney Kimmel Comprehensive Cancer Center, Dr. Victor Velculescu is leading research into developing new ways of detecting early-stage cancers.
The technologies to date, unfortunately, don't allow you to do that. So we've had to think of new ways to do that. And the stuff we've been developing, I must say, is almost like a space age kind of technology.
The team observed that cancer cells grow and replicate more chaotically than normal cells. So when those cells die, they leave behind telltale characteristics of fragments of DNA circulating in the blood, called cell-free DNA. In contrast, fragment patterns in people without cancer are more uniform. Using machine learning, the team developed blood testing technology to detect these highly variable patterns, known as Delphi, combining genome-wide sequencing of single molecules of DNA shed from tumors.
We look in the blood, we identify molecules of DNA called cell-free DNA, and we look for the profile or the patterns of this cell-free DNA as a way to identify those individuals who have cancer versus those that don't. AI has the advantage of being able to take the millions and millions of pieces of cell-free DNA and the patterns that come from these and ultimately come up with an algorithm that can distinguish individuals with cancer versus those that don't.
Velculescu says improved blood tests could lead to greater cancer screening worldwide.
The thought here is that a simple blood test would really increase the number of folks that could be detected to have an elevated signal of this biomarker, and that would lead them into this pathway of then getting imaging and the various diagnostic workup.
With the use of artificial intelligence in medicine growing, there are concerns among medical ethicists about how emerging technologies should be deployed.
I just want to make sure that we're testing to know it works. In the same way that we have a lot of procedures and norms and standards set to test a new drug before it is implemented and available for patients, we should be thinking through the same sort of safety and efficacy standards for AI tools in medicine as well.
On artificial intelligence, World Health Organization guidance recommends transparency about the intended use of machine-manipulated data, protections against cybersecurity threats, and a rigorous evaluation of systems quality to ensure that digital healthcare products do not amplify biases or errors.
We'll take another 360 and we look at the 2024 U.S. presidential election, which may look a lot like the 2020 vote, with the two major party nominations likely going to the same man, Joseph Biden and Donald Trump. One big difference now will be the use of artificial intelligence, which is playing a growing role in American politics.
I'm Carolyn Pursuti, Senior Washington Correspondent with Voice of America. I'm Carolyn Pursuti, Senior Washington Correspondent at Voice of America.
One of these is real, and one is generated with artificial intelligence, or AI. Can you tell the difference? That is why AI could prove to be a huge problem in the 2024 presidential election.
Can your industry police itself?
So I don't think it can police itself.
It's going to hurt Republicans as well as Democrats.
AI will and is already present across every inch of our election.
At least in the short term, it's pretty scary.
Stephen Brill is the co-CEO of NewsGuard, which tracks misinformation and AI on news sites. He worries voters won't know what to believe in the 2024 presidential race. Remember this Access Hollywood tape that surfaced a month before the 2016 presidential election? In it, then Republican candidate Donald Trump made lewd comments about women.
Today, if that surfaced, he could easily say, that audio is a fake, and people would be inclined to believe it because there is so much audio out there and video and text that is fake, because we're in the age of generative AI.
So far, no candidate we spoke to has an active way to detect AI used against them. In June 2023, a website backing Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis used 3 AI-generated photos of former President Trump hugging and kissing Dr. Anthony Fauci, the chief medical advisor to the president during the COVID-19 pandemic, who became unpopular among many conservative voters. Susan Gonzalez is the founder of AI literacy group AI and You and predicts candidates will target independents, new voters, and those who aren't AI savvy.
Maybe I believe something that was an AI-generated, fake, completely false commercial, for example, and it sways my vote, I've just lost my essential right to vote because it's not based on accurate information. So unfortunately, in this election, there are no guardrails, there's no regulation, there are no consequences.
Security analysts say AI-generated political advertising could swing close races. As the head of an AI company, Louis Rosenberg says it would take one of his employees only an hour to create a rogue AI candidate claim. He says the federal government has a responsibility to regulate large AI companies, but
because they allow third-party developers through an API, an application developer interface, to embed these tools into other websites, other applications. Now it becomes much harder to police because third parties can use these tools in ways that even the companies making them would think are unethical.
President Joe Biden issued an executive order demanding that new systems have watermarking on AI-generated material. MIT's David Rand predicts that will lead to what he calls banner blindness.
My concern is that if you label as AI-generated everything that's AI-generated, regardless of whether it's misleading or not, people essentially are going to stop really paying attention to it. It's going to become like, this causes cancer labels, which are on like everything, and just nobody takes it seriously.
The U.S. Federal Election Commission enforces campaign finance laws. The commission is being petitioned by the advocacy group Public Citizen to restrict the use of AI in political campaigning as fraudulent misrepresentation.
A lot of voters are already quite skeptical about elections. And if we end up, facing all this misinformation in the upcoming election, it's going to compound that skepticism. And if Americans lose faith in elections, we're going to lose democracy in the end.
The Election Commission has yet to rule on this petition, but it denied a similar request from Public Citizen a few months ago. Facebook owner Meta is barring political campaigns and advertisers from using generative AI content on its platform. Google, which owns YouTube, says it will require users who post realistic AI-generated content to clearly disclose that it contains altered or synthetic material. Most experts do not have faith that Facebook or Google will police their rules.
They won't enforce it, or they won't be able to enforce it, or some combination of both, but I think it's going to be meaningless.
Remember our question at the beginning of the report? This is the real video. Without more universal guidelines on artificial intelligence in politics, voters will be expected to catch the fakes on their own.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba-researche, bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokhu kusembili.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 762222000 or dial *007 *3 *7#. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. You can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any Nedbank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
It's 7 a.m. Welcome to the news at 7. His Majesty King Eswatini III has placed meeting the development aspirations of the nation at the heart of his working visit to the Republic of Turkey. All working engagements which have been undertaken by His Majesty in Turkey underscore the King's policy to forge profitable partnerships for the country as it spares no effort to achieve sustainable development. His Majesty has now proceeded to Istanbul, where he has arrived accompanied by Inkosikazi Magelang Kambule.
His Majesty King Eswatini III has kept a rigorous schedule over several days, having lots of bilateral engagements and engaging with other leaders to cultivate opportunities for eMswati since his arrival here in the Republic of Turkey, accompanied by Inkosikazi Magelang Kambule. A bilateral meeting with the President of Turkey, His Excellency Recep Erdogan, sets the tone for a fruitful working trip for the King. During the meeting, His Majesty called for increased trade activity between Turkey and the Kingdom of Eswatini, while the President reaffirmed Turkey's commitment towards scaling up relations with Eswatini. The King then participated in the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, where over 20 heads of state and nearly 5,000 participants endorsed diplomacy as a platform for solutions to global conflicts. Inkosikazi Magelang Kambule was hosted by the First Lady Emin Erdogan as a prime guest at the Women, Peace and Security session on the sidelines of the forum, where the First Lady stressed the importance of women's role in achieving lasting and sustainable peace worldwide. Numerous important achievements have been made, setting new milestones in bilateral cooperations between the Kingdom of Eswatini and the Republic of Turkey. His Majesty held bilateral talks aimed at increasing the scope of cooperation between Eswatini and two states, Russia and Serbia. The King meeting with Russia's top diplomat, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who invited Eswatini to the Russian elections later this month. The King scaled up his diplomatic crusade with another high-level bilateral meeting, this time with the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the Republic of Serbia. Groundbreaking agreements setting the tone for robust cooperation in the fields of education and trade have been sealed. The Kingdom has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Turkish Marif Foundation. The Memorandum of Understanding establishes a framework under which the two parties will establish collaborative activities in education and training, with the foundation expressing an interest to build internationally recognized schools from preschool to institution of higher learning level. The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority has also entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Foreign Economic Board of Turkey for the establishment of the Turkey Kingdom of Eswatini Business Council, which seeks to promote trade between the two countries. His Majesty has also held fruitful talks with delegations from the Turkish Red Crescent and the Turkish Coordination and Cooperation Agency. Now, part of His Majesty's mandate here in Turkey is to keep Eswatini competitive on the global stage. And a lot of ground has been covered in as far as repositioning the kingdom's brand as a preferred destination hub for the Turkey business community. Now, His Majesty the King has proceeded to Istanbul, where he is accompanied by Inkoskati Mage Lankambule. And even here in Istanbul, the King is expected to continue with his working program. This is a report by Sandile Makanya, reporting with Zoluma Sugu from Istanbul in the Republic of Turkey.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Kusile says her office is receiving an increased number of calls from people reporting child abuse, neglect, as well as gender-based violence cases. Dladla says these reports include parents who do not want to support their children, including paying for their school fees. Dladla says they will partner with the media in dealing with this issue, but clarified that the objective is not to scandalize anyone.
Hleli phasi ke simbhalele naye Minister ka Education yalo ukuthi Minister sicela ukuthi by March bantwana bonke bangene esikolweni.
The DPM says they have written to the Ministry of Education to ask that all children of school-going age should be allowed back to class. She says her office will find means to pay for these children. She says where there is a shortfall, there has to be an understanding, because if parents commit to paying 1,000 malangeni per month, why can't those students or pupils be allowed to continue with their lessons? The DPM says they have asked that children be allowed back to school while a way forward is being considered. She says no child should be left behind because of lack of funds, and adds that they have already started talks about this. She further says they have already started paying for fees from the pocket, and so do members of parliament, and that is why a solution has to be found.
So nako lokho satawuhlala phasi sesiqalile kuyibhunga.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy has issued 3 licenses to operators in the mining sector. Now, this was said by the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Honorable Prince Lonko Kela, when requesting the House of Assembly Portfolio Committee of the Ministry of Natural Resources to pass the over 1 billion Malangeni budget for the ministry's operation in the 2024-2025 financial year. On another note, the Minister of Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenberg, also presented a budget request of over 28 million Malangeni for the members of the House of Assembly's Portfolio Committee on the Ministry of Finance to pass.
In his preamble to the 2023-2024 performance report and subsequent debate, the Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Honorable Prince Lonko Kela, says the mining sector is expected to increase its contribution to the country's GDP, which currently stands at 0.2% to 5% by the year 2028.
3 mining rights were granted for coal resources at Mbaga, and another 2 prospecting licenses were granted for coal resources at St. Philip's South and Zaliche, respectively, whilst a prospecting license was granted for diamonds north of the defunct diamond mine, Katogolwa. The ministry, I must say, Mr. Chairman, in close cooperation with the Minerals Management Board, is working towards ensuring that there is increased economic activity to boost employment opportunities through mining of the vast mineral reserve that the country has.
The Minister of Finance, Honorable Neil Reichenbach, when delivering his preamble to the Ministry's performance report and debate, says the Ministry will continue to accelerate programs of economic empowerment to the citizenry and the support to other government ministries for the effective delivery of their respective mandates.
Office of Internal Audit verified arrears amounting to 231 million emalangeni accumulated by 17 in order to improve fiscal discipline towards ensuring that ministries and departments manage their funds appropriately to deliver their programs and activities within their budgets. I presume they're referring to 17 entities here. The office was able to develop an enterprise risk management manual with the assistance of Commonwealth and has trained risk champions in the 7 pilot ministries on using the manual. The aim is to increase awareness, enhance ownership by ministries, and strengthen the coordination and the establishment of risk management in these ministries.
After the debate of the Minister of Natural Resources report, the Portfolio Committee's Chairman, Honorable Madala Mhlanga, requested the Honorable Minister to bring written responses to the committee's questions. On the other hand, the Portfolio Committee on the Minister of Finance, chaired by Honorable Maui Kumalo, was still debating the Ministry's performance report at the time of compiling this report. Reporting, I'm Mbonga Dube in Dobamba.
The Ministry of Home Affairs secures the capacity to register birth certificates for newborns following the reception of essential supplies from World Vision. Represented by Honorable Jane Mkonda, the Minister for Home Affairs expresses gratitude, noting that the received materials, including mobile offices and laptops, will significantly assist healthcare facilities in remote areas.
World Vision has generously donated essential supplies to the Ministry of Home Affairs to facilitate the issuance of birth certificate for newborn babies. Honorable Jane Mkonda, the representative of the Minister for Home Affairs, expresses gratitude and emphasizes that the ministry will now be able to operate more efficiently.
This donation is in the form of 1 fully furnished mobile office, 3 computers, 3 printers, 6 laptops, furniture consisting of tables and chairs. I stand before you today to emphasize the importance of birth registration and highlight how this donation will contribute to the ministry, especially the Department of Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Strategic Intent for newborns, especially the closing of the TAP initiative. It is crucial to recognize the significance of birth registration. Birth registration is not only the first legal requirement for a child, but also an essential step towards ensuring their well-being. Without proper registration, a child remains invisible, deprived of their rights and opportunities. Birth registrations entitles a child to their rights and bestows upon to the state the responsibility to protect and provide for them throughout their lives. In line with our ministry's strategic intent for newborns, we have launched an initiative called the Closing of the TAP. The primary objective of this initiative is to ensure that every newborn is registered at the point of birth. The goal is to capture 65% of births occurring in health facilities, thereby establishing a comprehensive record of our nation's future.
These materials were handed over by Mark Kelly, the World Vision Director of Southern Africa, along with Tina Mukunda, the World Vision Country Director. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Bendulo Kumbi, Mbabane.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security, Honorable Pilab Telezi, says exceptional performance is not only the factor considered when awarding scholarships. The Minister says the Scholarship Selection Board prioritizes orphans. The Minister has said this in Parliament when his ministry appeared before its Portfolio Committee in the House of Assembly on Monday.
kule ncincomo letivela ngokuze yathi le means test or maybe le ndlela esihluma ngayo for scholarships ayisiyo yenethisa ngishoda kodwa imali sisayinombolo encane sicheck kumele means test.
There are suggestions that the committee is not happy. The suggestions that the committee is unhappy with the scholarship selection criteria. What actually happens is that more weight is given to an applicant's status. This is to say, orphaned and vulnerable children are given priority while marks carry less weight. Double orphans are at the top of the priority list. However, as we go through the applications, we find that applicants with the same family background apply for the same courses. For example, in UNESWA, we had a number of double orphans applying for BCom. When selecting successful candidates, you find that some double orphans make the cut, while others do not. Those from urban areas who can afford to pay then voice out their concerns as they are left out and have to pay for their tuition from the pocket. At UNESWA, we have 50% students funded by government and others are self-sponsored.
Only 50 is paid by government.
The Kingdom of Eswatini declares its readiness to embrace tourists this Easter season. The Honorable Jane Mkonda, who is the Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, asserts that the nation is geared up to satisfy travelers who are seeking scenic beauty and natural wonders. Mkonda made these remarks during the launch of the Easter holiday campaign.
The theme for this year's Easter holiday campaign unveils unwrapping an unforgettable Easter adventure. The Honorable Jane Mkonda, Minister for Tourism and Environmental Affairs, affirms that the Ministry of Tourism is fully prepared to cater to tourists' needs.
Whether you crave a serene escape with loved ones through untouched wildlife or a cultural immerse into the rich tapestry of our traditions, Eswatini caters to every desire. Unwrap your perfect Easter adventure by exploring our diverse landscapes, from the rolling hills of the Zulwini Valley to the breathtaking highlands adventures. Immerse yourselves in the vibrant Bukanu ceremony. Participate in traditional crafts, workshops, or simply relax and savor the peacefulness of our serene nature retreats, ranging from conservation to community and scenic splendor.
Tegan Ward, the Secretary of the Hospitality and Tourism Association of Eswatini, declares their readiness to serve delicious meals.
Here in Eswatini, this is further amplified by the approaching change of seasons, which offers a fresh perspective and a renewed sense of possibility mirrored in nature's vibrant awakening. Easter also presents an opportunity to indulge in the best aspects of life, like spending time with family and friends, immersing ourselves in Eswatini's breathtaking landscapes and savoring the delicious treats often available. So let us embrace this Easter together, creating unforgettable experiences that will nourish our souls and deepen our connections.
The Ministry of Tourism is actively engaged in campaigns to achieve the 2 billion emalangeni target. Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Nogwane.
A 13-year-old child stopped receiving monthly maintenance amounting to 1,000 emalangeni after her mother went to complain to the Master of the High Court in Babane about the arrangement and further seeking an increased 15,000 monthly maintenance. This was ascertained when those listed to benefit in the estate of Aaron Maswazimamba appeared before the Judicial Commission of Inquiry, currently probing the Master of the High Court office for alleged gross maladministration, abuse of power, as well as embezzlement of estate monies.
The estate of the deceased Aaron Maswazimamba includes 119 one-rooms for rentals, a motor vehicle, a bus, a combi, and permits, a truck, 11 head of cows. Another items include 2 firearms, 2 bank accounts. The deceased had 5 children, while the 13-year-old was born out of wedlock. The Office of the Master of the High Court report indicates that the wife of the deceased was greatly affected by the introduction of the minor child in such a way that some family members claim that she was allegedly mentally challenged. The report states that 2 paternity tests were conducted and they indicated that the child was the deceased's daughter.
So she had challenges very accepting the child, hence she requested for Lama paternity test. She did that get through her attorneys, MSc Legal. Sabelo Mamba, who's the brother to the deceased, would be used for the paternity test she was requesting for. The paternity test was conducted, and the conclusion was that the genetic data supports umalume lokuthi kwakhomba lokuthi vele ngumntwana nguye wakamamba. Imake wabese ba disturbed after learning of the existence yalo mntwana, the minor child. It disturbed her so much ngathi ukuthi mentally vele akabanga sabakahle.
Lawyer Wandile Maseko, representing the minor child, informed the Judicial Commission of Inquiry that he had not been getting responses from the Office of the Master of the High Court and the Executor regarding the maintenance.
1,000 per month for maintenance because usafunza isikolo sisemncane. So ngalo January naketala kimi namakwakhe bebeta ukuthi Maseko sicela manje usite lokuthi site for the maintenance.
Lawyer Mzwandile Dlamini, who is representing the deceased wife, says they did not stop the maintenance. He continues to add that through the Deputy Prime Minister's office, they received the communique where the mother of the minor wanted 15,000 emalangeni for maintenance.
Good liquidation account lebe kubukiwe kokuthi lo mntwana mhlawumbeni ungamenela makubukwa le estate bekungu 45,000 kubese sekuvela sekuqhamuka le-office la Deputy Prime Minister ngicabanga ukuthi kule hlangothi lapho khona babukele inhlalakahle yebantwana sebakhuluma ungathi uthi make wemntwana ucela imali lenganga 15,000.
The Judicial Commission of Inquiry investigating alleged malpractice in the Office of the Master of the High Court emphasized that the Master's Office should ensure that the child continues to receive the child maintenance, as no one can survive without food. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Bongani Masuku Mpabane.
On international news, at least 8,000 people died as gang members attacked the main prison in Haiti's capital, triggering a breakout by several thousand inmates, an AFP reporter and an NGO said on Monday.
Inmates with bullet wounds and pieces of blood-stained clothing strewn across the compound. The aftermath of a mass prison breakout after armed groups on Saturday night stormed Haiti's largest prison.
We were asleep when we heard the sound of bullets. The cell barriers are broken. I'm the only one left in my cell.
The patios were left eerily empty in the facility, which was built for 700 prisoners, but was holding over 3,600 before the breakout. Authorities said it remained unclear how many inmates were on the run, while prison workers reported only around 100 had opted to remain in their cells for fear of being killed in the crossfire. The National Police said they will do everything in their power to track down fleeing prisoners and arrest those responsible. The Caribbean country has seen a surge in violence in recent days as gangs assert greater control in the capital. It comes as gang leader Jimmy Cherizier pledged to oust the country's acting Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who has vowed to re-establish security in the nation and signed a security deal in Kenya on Friday to tackle gang violence.
Hamas said it was pressing on with talks on securing a ceasefire in Gaza despite Israel's decision not to attend, while Washington appeared to take a tougher line in demanding its ally or ally Israel ease the plight of suffering civilians. The ceasefire talks, which began on Sunday in Cairo, are billed as a final hurdle to establish the first extended ceasefire of the 5-month-old war in time for the Ramadan Muslim fasting month, maybe, which is expected to be
released from Israel's army of its troops conducting ground operations in Gaza.
The offensive to oust Hamas continues as global pressure mounts on both sides to strike a ceasefire agreement to bring back hostages and end the human suffering in the enclave.
Given the immense scale of suffering in Gaza, there must be an immediate ceasefire. For at least the next 6 weeks, which is what is currently on the table.
The U.S. Vice President referred to ongoing negotiations taking place in Cairo, with envoys from the United States, Qatar and Hamas present. Israel boycotted the talks after it failed to receive a list of hostages currently alive in Gaza. But according to U.S. officials, it's broadly accepted the terms of the deal, which includes a 6-week pause in fighting. This as domestic pressure continues to mount on the government.
It's like a hell, you know. We are in some of a loop since the October 7th. We are living this day every day again and again. We have only one goal.
A ceasefire will pressure Israel to increase aid flows into Gaza after the U.S. described the situation in the enclave as inhumane. Washington adding it wants no excuses from Israeli officials, its sharpest rebuke of Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the war to date. There are hopes a ceasefire can go into effect by the start of Ramadan, due to begin at the end of the week.
In sports news, Minister for Sports Honorable Bongani Nzima says the 900,000 Emalangeni KFC sponsorship to Eswatini Soccer Foundation is in line with government's initiative of seeing sporting codes being fully supported at grassroots level. Minister Nzima was speaking during the 2024 Eswatini Foundation KFC launch of 900,000 Emalangeni, which was held at Mountain Inn in Mbabane. That's it for our English news. We'll go for a net break. We return with the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Thuli Dladla.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi.
Aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokhu kusembili.
Ujala masada mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengalokho
sivile sive sikhulume.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart and a desire for the unexpected. You embark on journeys to discover new worlds full of wonder. You choose a path to awaken your senses, a world to make you look up and realize just how inspiring this life can be. Arrive and awaken your heart. Explore life in ways only thought possible in your dreams. Discover just how far you'll go to expand your understanding of life's greatest mysteries. There's just one place on this planet with so much to offer. Now is the time for you to have the royal experience in the kingdom.
Just a minute before half an hour after 7 for Gabanganamage in Simbi Kombisa. We will connect now virtually with the Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Thuli Dladla, on a story lesi katsate kakhulu esukweni laitolo. When we woke up yesterday, we woke up to news that a 14-year-old pupil committed suicide. And Zabendike Lenkhulu, she was a Form 2 pupil from the Lubombo region, and they committed suicide over owed fees. Such a heart-wrenching incident which revisits the many concerns around child support, which the Deputy Prime Minister has been lamenting about since she assumed office. DPM, thank you so much for joining us. Lomuhla ekseni indzaba lenkulu kunanje lengitsanza kuyi-highlight lesivile esukwini layitolo. Kanti ke ivela yinfo lena lecishe solo uyayikhulumisa indzaba ye-child support nekunakwa kwebantfwana since you assumed the office of the DPM. I know that kunelibandla lolithumile to, validate, to look at the validity of the story, Elubonjeni. I know they came back with findings. If you will indulge us, itsini vele lenzaba the story first, maybe as confirm the validity of the story. How did it emanate? Sayifika la ekuthenini seyaslimata sonke.
Asibonge Sifiso. Sivusele emaswatini onke labukela lo msakazo wetithombe. Ngibonge ukuthi usithinze ngalendzaba kusukela itolo after sesivile ukuthi kube nesehlakalo lesikanje. Kwesibili umuntu ucela kulilela gogo wakhe umntwana netihlobo tonke letithinzekile ngekuhamba kwalomntwana kabuhlungu kanjena. Sililele naso sikolo lapho bakafunza khona ngoba phela bese akhe bangane lo mntwana, so nalabangani esikolweni labo bantwana bathintekile uma beva lo mkhuhlane lomkhulu kangaka. Nelitiko ke laka education siyabonga ukuthi minister waka education utasikhoka statement namuhla ato lilela wona umndeni nawo emaswati. Ngijabule Sifiso ukuthi sisebenzisana kahle kakhulu nelitiko laka education nalo litiko laka finance kuletindzaba leti. Naye accountant general usibambisile kakhulu. Indzaba yemntwana njengaloku sive sathi ukuthi sinabo social worker cishe kuwo onke ama-regions naku onke amadolobha lamancane nalamakhulu even lakangwane. Sikhuthate-ke ukuthi emaswati avele ko-social worker bethu. Sitawubuka indlela yokuthi sifundisa kanjani lelo vangeli ukuthi ungahlali nenkinga. Social worker ukhona futhi siyafuna bo-social worker ukuthi nabo bavakashe babone lama-ofisi ethu etikolweni. Ngenhlanhla lembi-ke lama-ofisi ethu etikolweni akasimanyenti, ayabuyela emakhaya because kufuneka bo-top up labete bona. Lo mfana lo indzaba yakhe ibuhlungu kakhulu because bo-social worker bangibikele ukuthi bebayati indzaba yalo mfana.
Okay.
Bamfaka bebe bamregister ukuthi utawufunza ngekuba i-orphan. Akasi orphan bambambamba but vulnerable. Unabo bobabili batali bakhe. Make wakhe wafika wamshiya kugogo ana 15 months. Babe lo gogo utala lo yise walomfana. So wamixwa ka paternal. Babe akaveli ekhaya naye make womntwana akaveli ekhaya. So umfana solo ahlala nagogo ana 15 months lokunamhla ana 14 years. So ungenile ke ka form 1 weta gogo ka DPM u social worker wethu wacela ukuthi register umntwana as a vulnerable child. Indeed some register wabhadalelwa ka form 1. Kepha ngalendzaba labo top up sesiva ukuthi akakhonanga kuyitfola i-report. So uma fika esikolweni ka form 2 avele head teacher amncanzekise because akakhona uku-accessa i-report so abuyele ekhaya umntwana kubede lokhona-ko ukuthi atovela kithi ukuthi nanga umntwana sebamcoshile esikolweni banyenti labantwana sifiso labacoshwako esikolweni because of i-top up laba vulnerable so esikhathini lesinyenti ukhanza ukuthi bathinta mine noma bathinte social worker wethu bese-ke sizama loko singakuzama ukuthi lo mntwana abuyele esikolweni kulesinye isikhathi kanti nebahlonishwa nabo bebeta basibikele ukhanze ukuthi bahlonishwa sesithi asibone ukuthi simbuyisela njani nabo basite nathi sisite kodwa lokho akusi-sustainable sifiso because incumbi yalabantwana vele bathi threatenisha lokutibulala so ukhanze ukuthi uma sivile siyagijima vele sibente lobo daba ukuthi umntwana angatibulali but angene esikolweni lokuvisana buhlungu kakhulu ukuthi banabo batali labantwana but bafike babadambe kugogo bese-ke gogo-ke uyatizama ukuthi umntwana umbuyisela kanjani esikolweni noma leyo top up ifaka kanjani esikolweni lokuphize kube buhlungu kakhulu athi noma athi gogo ngiyabofaka kancane kancane mfanami bothishela abakufuni lokho some of the teachers hayi bonke labanyenti bo-head teacher basibambisa but kukhona labanye labavele bale nje bathi nani buyele emva nemntwana labanye-ke bavele base bavala liso linye achubeke umntwana afunze akhona nje ama-cases la njalo lengisithi uma ngifika kubo-head teacher bathi sibese nje sivala liso linye ukuthi umntwana acede isikolo kepha-ke sifiso singihulumende sihleli phasi asikakuyekeli lokho sisabuka ukuthi senda njani ukuthi lama-public school abe ngama-public school vele akhetharishele labantwana if leti mali njengalokhu sathi ukuthi sikolwa for instance sirana ngemali engaka sesiqalile ukubuka lokho ukuthi isikolwa sidinga imali engakanani ukuze sikhone ukuthi sirane kahle so konke lokho sitakulungisa bese-ke kuthi kumbe ku-next financial year that is le financial year 2025-2026 bese siyabona ukuthi tikolwa sitilekelela kanjani but kwanyalo siyacela vele ukuthi bothishela sicela abantwana ningababuyiseli emuva emakhaya shayelani lehhovisi la DPM noma nishayele lehhovisi la ka-education sibonisane ukuthi ngikuphi lokudinga ukuthi kusitwe ngoba if lo mntwana vele ehluleka lokubhadala angabuke ekhombisa ukuthi vele lo mntwana u-vulnerable and bo-social worker bethu bakhona aseniyo-check-a DPM ukuthi vele lo mntwana u-vulnerable kangakanani i-background yakhe siyabhadala thina esikolweni esifiso kusivisa buhlungu kakhulu ukuthi khona umntwana longafa sibhadele ukuthi nje uswele lo mali yekutop up.
Yeah. And I suppose as you try to harmonize labo bothishela nhloko labancane losovetile ukuthi yes kusesekhona lokhishana nebatala, as you try to harmonize that relationship between the head teacher and the parent ekuthenini umntwana akachubeke afunze. I think one of tinvo lo passionate ngato, and I suppose also being supported by imithetho elive lekhona, the fulfillment of your office, the mandate that you have as custodians of children and family issues in Zimbabwe. You do have obligations under the Children Protection and Welfare Act of 2012. You did even take the opportunity kukumbuta abatali nema-guardians of their moral and legal duty as well as responsibility to take care of their children and to ensure that their welfare and future iba protected and secured. Kuvisa buhlungu kakhulu nasekwenteka tigameko letifana naleti, but I think I take comfort, even though I feel like we may be speaking prematurely, especially in my position. Brainchild yako, we have heard you with an idea idea that has gotten us excited, media, and making sure that, labatali and guardians are not taking responsibility. They are being held accountable for their actions. I hope I'm not asking you to preempt an idea that you have, but I'm very excited about it because it will see an end to nangumkhuhlane nangu lesiubonago. Engabe sikufuna sijabule kangakanani umsebenzi lona lekufuna siugathe ukuthi uqale matutane kangakanani DPM.
Ngiyabonga Sifiso, lona umsebenzi vele ngujake kakhulu ngikuthi umfana lilungelo lakhe akusilo nje isikolo kuphela, neluthando umfana kufanele salithole. Sithi ke emaswatini noma ngabe awunalutho khombisa uthando kumntwana wakho. Ungumntwana nawe nami nje ngaka if besene batali ngabe solo luthando ngiyalifuna kuwe. Because umntali ungumuntu lokunika lithemba nalota uyi role model yakho.
Right.
Umntali ngumuntu lokunakekela usesiswini waphinze futhi waphuma kunakekela. So unginakekele usesiswini le bond lo uyakhile nami wena sekulahlekela nini ukuthi bese uyakhohlwa ngami. So lo hlelo lesitawucala Sifiso asifuni ukuhlambalatha umuntu, hayi ukuthi kumbe sifuna ufaka abantu emahlazweni cha. Siyakufuna ukuthi ungakuphi buya unike umntwana wakho i-attention.
Yes.
Noma ngabe ukugogo phakamisa ucingo, khuluma nemntwana wakho, hamba uye ekhaya uyohlola umntwana. Make ngakubelekelela ngakuphi, yebo kangisebenzi. Make umntwana uphila njani, nako lesikucelayo. Nyalo lesesikubonile Sifiso njengaloku i-report yethu isho. Awu siyalahla vile bantwana. Uma anenhlanhla lo mfana ufika lahle kugogo, lo munye alahlwe esigangeni. Lokhu ngikhuluma nje nyalo ngiyaphuma ngiya kuma foster homes. Ngawuvakashela about 9. Lokhu ngisuka nje nyalo la. Ngiyohlola labantwana labalahliwe. Base uyababutha DPM ubamikisa kulabantu labathi thina sibabona labantwana sibakhulise bangene etikolweni. Emaswati bekangasinje. So lo hlelo lethu ke sitawufaka ema-media houses lapho sitabothi uma sihlangana nengcinambala enjengale kufana ukuthi siyatfotisa. Umntwana ngibani lo sibonele ukuthi bani ungakuphi. Umntwana udzinga uthando lwakhe.
Indeed.
Sicela abuye abone umntwana. Sikhulisa umliba lo yaphambili la. Asikhulisa abantwana labatawukhula ne-hatred, inzondo lesingathi ukuthi sitayibhula ngamphumlilo. Sikhulisa abantwana la lekungabo labatawuphatha lelive. Asifuni lelive liphathwe abantwana labanenzondo lenkhulu kabi, inzondo letawuqhubeka iti manifeste ilimate lelive. So ngiko ngikhanze kwekuthi njengalokuthi thina sinikwe le mandate asiku embrace konke lokho, sibuke i-future yelive ukuthi ikuphi ngoba i-future yelive kubantwana. So nineke ndasisida bengibheke ukuthi ngabe li-office lami selihlangene ngoba sikhulume sekusikhashanyana. Ngikhulumile futhi na CEO waka TV, saphinze sayikhuluma na Minister ICT. Kusho ukuthi ke mina njena ufanele ngihambele abantu abami ngibone ukuthi sebaqalile yini lokuthi nibidwe sihlaleni phansi siwakheni nomgwaqo, because i-program letasisita kakhulu nalabatali lebalahlela abantwana batawujabula uma sebasonzela kubantu babo. You'll be shocked. Batasibonga sitawubona le reunion iba yinhle ijabulisa naye athi hawu umfanami Nkosi yami bese ngumlahlile. So we're trying to create that, and labanyenti batali njengaloku sicala sikhuluma le program utawumangala ukuthi batagijima baye emakhaya bawuhlola abantwana babo. Akusiyo leyo ke kuphela, nani ninebantwana nibalahlile batali benu. Ukhona lo munye mkhulu lengumthethe engamikisa kule elderly home yethu eMankayane, bekana 3 webantwana bamlahla akabathi bashonaphi. So nakhona lapho siyafuna ukuthi bantwana ababuyele kubatali babo, ababanake batali babo. Uma shuthi utelutho asive ngawe ukuthi make uhlala endlini leseyinetha, akusilo hlazo lelo. Utawusukuma uhulumende azama umakhela, hayi ukuthi sihambe simfufutha sikhanze umuntu omdala alele esigangeni. Ube ukhona uhleli somewhere ungathi ukuthi umntalo wakho uphila njani. So siyacela lokuthi sisebenzisane uma singenta njalo le live litakwakha and sayibona ifuture yale live iba brighter. Right now mina ngikhanze ukuthi ngaloku lesikwenda kulabantwana ifuna kuba bleak. So kungcono lokuthi sikubambe nyalo sikusheshise siku-arreste labantwana babuye, and then bisikhona ukukhulisa a happy society letawuphatha le live ijabulile, ibe nema program latawujabulisa ngoba sive lesijabulile nemnotho uyajabula ngoba wonke umuntu ufuna kufaka isandla abone ukuthi live lakhe liphila kahle. But labantwana lesibakhulisako lababodwa bangetfusa. That is why ngifuna le program. Ngifise ukuthi by the time ukufika lomnyaka bese icalile isifiso.
And DPM, it has gotten all of us excited. Thank you so much for joining us. Lomhla ekseni kusichazela ngijashiliswa ukuthi ezugcina nje inkulumo yakho ukhuluma kakhulu inzabe ukuthi uhulumende uyasukuma njengoba nje nyalo uphuma uyakubantu, which is a perfect segue for our next conversation with Indvuna Yetinkhundla Sikhumbuzo Dlamini on government's commissioning of a cabinet subcommittee letawusebenta donati indzaba dokubona ukuthi there's a single countrywide system of local government. Thank you so much DPM. We come back with Sikhumbuzo Dlamini, Indvuna Yetinkhundla.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Ujala masoda mahle kunathi lesa.
Sabatandi ukuthi njengaloku sivile sive sikhulume.
samukele indvuna yetinkhundla umhlonishwa Sikhumbuzo Dlamini kunemsebenzi lomkhulu losukunyiswe itolo kunelikomiti ke lelitawubuka noma ke liqinisekise ukuthi nangemambala hulumende uya esiveni government's commissioning of a cabinet subcommittee to work on the establishment of a single countrywide system of local government. Because thank you so much for coming to the program. Ngumsebenzi lona lengicabanga ukuthi sive semaswati siuthakasela kakhulu nasibuka imisebenzi yonke lento ke11 sisuka khona esibayeni kude kube ngilomuhla ivuliwe iParliament nangane amaphakelo savele aphakelwe kusilandzisa njengoba siyeva ukuthi lokhu kungathi ku-entrenched nakumthetho sisekelo ukuthi engabe vele uthini umthetho sisekelo kugunyata hulumende ngomsebenzi losukumisa itolo.
Asibonga kakhulu msakade sivusele onke emaswati labukela namsado tithombe asisho kona vele ukuthi itolo sisukumisela ibandla le empeleni la buswa ngecabinet evikini eliphelile libandla elifaka ekhathi indvuna letine lekuyindvuna yetinkhundla lekunyana itawuhamba embili bese kuba indvuna yemadolobha bese kuba indvuna yetemthetho nonzathu umthetho sisekelo bese kuba indvuna ye-economic planning letindvuna leti ke litawusenda indzaba lenkhulu njengoba sokhuluma nje umthetho sisekelo uyakhuluma angicala ngekuthi amaswati akhulumile esibayeni abengacali ukukhuluma sakhulumile kabantu lokuthi afuna uhulumende ahambe afike lekubantu lokufika lekubantu ke kwahulumende kuthi ngathi benemgwaco losho ukuthi uhamba njani uhulumende ufika njani lekubantu letamile litiko kanengi lokufuna kwakha lomgwaco kodwa akabonakala ukuthi ungathi indlela lengiyombamba ngile ukuthi sihloniphe lo mthetho sisekelo section 218 ke we constitution qala ku section 218 kahle kahle ngichapter 13 wonke lokhulumisa lokuthi uhulumende uyawakhiwa kanjani lapho khona ku establish khona lama local governments le local government ke kuthiwa kufuna kube single country wide local government lapho khona kutawucetha khona lo mehluko emkhathini wamadolobha nasemakhaya vele livele libukeke nje ngendlela yinye lonke empeleni umthetho sisekelo ke vele uyakusho lokuthi kuyafuneka lokuthi kube nalo mthetho loyo loyawuthi ushaywe iParliament emva kweminyaka lesihlanu umthetho sisekelo uphasile sesisemva kakhulu ke selitiko but liqiniso lithi bekusolo kusentshetwa njengoba sengishilo ukuthi bekunema attempts la akaphumelele nyalo ke sesiphume wonke selitiko sina hulumende wonke aphelele kungawahlangene ematiko lamanye lokuthi vele akuhambe kwendwa le exercise ukuthi le live lilunga lo section 218 ke uthi nzathi ingoni letinenge lo section chapter 13 unalo 218 lothi akwakhiwe le establishment yale local government single country wide local government bese kuyabuya futhi sekuphinze futhi kuyena lo 218 ke kuyasho lokuthi ema objectives ale tinkundla based system lokuthi kuye lo hulumende lekubantu closer to the people lo hulumende yes kuyaqhubeka ke bo 219 so bakhuluma nge delimitation lokuthi ayakwa njani iBC uyabuka lokuthi uthi hlepla njani le live kulama local governments to sebendeka kuphinze futhi 220 kume ngeadministration ukuthi ke ayawuphathwa njani ke lama local governments njengalo kuyawubheka lokuthi kube nemthetho la kusho ukuthi mase establishiwe ayawuthi asebenze njani nemisebenzi yawo ke ku221 kuyasho ukuthi ayawusebendani ke noma ke lama local governments ayawusebenda kanjani ama authorities labe asasukunyisiwe nemthetho ke losho ukuthi imali ayawuta kanjani ama local governments power to raise revenue ku very important ne subvention futhi from hulumende ke noma letinhlangothi 223 ukhuluma ngaloko nje wale constitution ukuthi le mali yabe seyakhiwa kanjani ke na hulumende usayifaka kanjani le mali leqiniso lithi ke lama integrations amgcwalo ukuthi nentuthuko kanjani lekubantu nako futhi kuyakhulunyiswa kulo mthetho sisekelo sekwende kanjani na 225 akhuluma ukuthi kuyawuphathwa njani ngenyalo wona ama local governments bese sekugcina ukuthi kuyafuna benemthetho ke kwaphatha vele constitution of local governments konke khona kumthetho sisekelo leli vese semva kakhulu kube bese sikwentile ngabe kude kukhala emaswatini ukuthi uhulumende akafike kubantu kungakho ufuna sesigijime vele selitiko
lokungijabulisa ko ndvuna inkosi indzabe ukuthi kungathi vele le interest ayikho ukuthi sidawuphe kugitsela igogweni sikhale kakhulu nyalo sengilomsebenzi lesevele usenjetwa like highlighting ukuthi umsebenzi ekufuna vele ngakathe wendeka uyaveta lo ukuthi kunemisebenzi lekufuna ukuthi yentiwe and I suppose ukuthi njengoba sibuya khona esibayeni and sive semaswati vele even outside of esibayeni they will lament about some of the challenges la khona engabe sinako yini sisawuqala lo msebenzi ukuthi these are the most pressing challenges lekufuna ukuthi nyalo nasisuka lamagonzo lathi ngwe kufuna ukuthi siyowa addressa lawo ma challenges lawo
Kuyevakala angicale ngalokusho nje ukuthi live la kangwane nemthethosisekelo le ku section 79 kusitshela ngalokuthi siyawuphathwa kanjani letinkundla system of government le lapho khona vele kuyachaza lokuthi silivela kangwane silive lelikhululekile kucala embili ukuthi sikhululekile bese kwesibili siyatimbandzakanya wonke umuntu uneligalelo efathalende ekuphatheni lelive noma ke ekutheni live libe ngcono gcina ukuthi ke siyawusena inkundla thina singemaswati leti mfowethu yawendeka le phasi kubantu nakulolo le phasi nakhona uyaba nelive liqiniso lethu osukumile kumsebenzi sesibheke ukuthi onke emaswati litiko lisethile noma ke le cabinet subcommittee isethile ema structures one nje kutaba le interministerial steering committee lelidwa nguye PS welitiko letinkundla litaphinza futhi itiko letinkundla libe secretariat lapho ke batabe kakhulu ba-engage lesive onke ama-stakeholders lathinsekako lokuthi wonke umuntu asho umqondo wakhe lokuthi kungenteka kanjani leyo selo chapter 13 singama-operationalize njani lokuthi live likhone kuyembili ama-service akhone kufika kubantu because indzaba ye-decentralization njengokusathi lokuthi kune-decentralization nazane policy ya-2005 ikukhetulu but more than anything kufuna ukuthi le phasi vele kwakhona ama structures njengalokusho umthethosisekelo
lokho ngijabulisa kakhulu ukuthi lesive emimangweni ngekwehlukana kwayo imimango respectively imimango inama challenges la unique. Yes, we will admit ukuthi the two most pressing challenges njengoba nendvuna etema 5 etile I believe nesilo semhlaba nasivulayo ni parliament the two most pressing challenges lapha kangwane nyalo unemployment nendlala siyathi ke lokho ukuthi lemisebenzi lenita addressa lokho but kungithokozisa kakhulu kuva ukuthi vele nisayo sikhulumisa lesive kule mimango ekwehlukana kwayo tivetele tinsayeya lababhekene nato ngifuna nje ukuthi ukupha lithuba bantu ngenkosi ukuthi ukhulume naso sive nyalo njengoba uvetile ukuthi lo mthethosisekelo uphinze usho ukuthi sonke kufuna sibambisane naso sive kunenzima lokufuna sidlale ekuthenini lisettle committee kulama communities ngekwehlukana engabe sive in terms of conduct in terms of singemaswati sithume ngani kufuna ukuthi kube ngiphi inzima lokufuna idlalwe sive kusacala lo msebenzi
angibonge mina kethu angicale ngalokusho lo ukuthi liqiniso lithi tonke letinkinga leti hlasele live kube lo mthetho lo so ukhona ngabe adiko noma ngabe tincane kakhulu ngisho yini so ubalile nyalo wabala ubabado kwemsebenzi wabala buphuya lo mthetho lona uthi lo hulumende akahamba ayele kubantu ngisho nenza yamaphakelo njengoba sokusenzindwe emava nje lamaphakelo endiwe lephasi ngalesikhathi amaphakelo endiwe lephasi each local authority itawukhona kuba nemali yayo ngishito lapha lokuthi kune section lekhuluma ukuthi batadreza njani imali lamandla atakwehlayele phasi bakhona ukutakhela imali bona lapho khona batawuphinze babhadalise ama levies banikele lamandla ayo lokusala lama levies baphinze futhi nazane national government aba subvent abanike imali sho sinemali nje ndawubekisa ngenkundla yasekukhanyeni na ungathi inkundla yasekukhanyeni lapha kutawumikiswa imali leyi lapha abantu khona imali ukuthi le local government bangayisebenzisa kanjani batibonele bona ema priorities entiwe ngibo kanti lamuhla ku opposite lama priorities entiwa ngu national government wang central government lethi nje sihlelayo embabane cabinet liqiniso lithi singathi individually sibahlutshwe yini manje emakhaya but liqiniso lithi ngeke sikwente kahle konke but manje simixele imali kulabantu ba budget yalabantu le budget yayinfonywa ngetinkinga leti lephasi awungiqinisile ngacanje emaswati lokuthi vele akasukume onke selifucala umsebenzi kutawucala kuyiwe kubo phasifunza ba engage namatiko taqala ngamatiko onke latsinzekako kuyiwe ba phasifunza kuyiwe tinkundleni councils kuyiwe basemadolobheni kuyiwe kuboya boshifu nabantu benkosi kuyiwe sonke nje sive nalabo ufuna ukuthi khulumela nje na asende umlayeto utawusho mabhayo nomkhulu noma isecretariat lokuthi angawuthumela kuphi umlayeto nathi sitfoyile ukuthi emaswati athini ithini contribution emaswati sitawuphuma ephuyeni siphuma endlaleni bekunene live lemaswati linothile lidzinga ukuthi sisebenze ikakhulu ke iparliament ngiyayichallenge nayo lokuthi asicine endzabeni demthetho ngoba live ngaphandle kwemthetho ngelifike nzawo nabe namithetho efanele even kutawukwenda lokho ukuthi kube lula kusebenza event.
President Nkosi, thank you so much for your time. There's been a mouthful futhi siyethemba ukuthi nesive seMaswati sivile njengoba sosikhuthathile naso ukuthi kulenzima lokufuna sidlale ke neliqiniso nangekuthembeka ikakhulu siyajabula ukuthi uyamniketa naye uhulumende leyo nsaya ukuthi vele imithetho ayilandzelwe. Ngijashiswa kakhulu ngemagama akho laveta ukuthi yonke inkundla itawuvakala insayatayo iconnect isebentela. Ngiyayibona nje inkundla yaseNkwene lochamuka kuyo ukuthi ngathi yakuthakasela kulima nawo endlule eNkwene uyabona ukuthi balima kakhulu sethembe ukuthi nabo batawuqhubeka bakuqinise lokho kulima lokho njengoba sathi ukuthi sive seMaswati kulima kusitha kangakanani. Thank you so much for your time. Sibonge ukuthi ube nathi eluhlelweni kwalo muhle nawe ke kusijoyina lo mhla elihlelweni sasifike emaphethelweni elihlelo lwethu lwalo muhla sithembe ukuthi nakusasa utawuba nathi usale kahle.